Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. And yes, there was no review yesterday. I do apologise. There was some stuff at the end of the day on the Wednesday and then the start of the day on the Thursday. All kind of got in the way, and I ended up having to push back my review a day. But we are reviewing Superman Lost, issue 1 of 10. Little maxi series. Kind of like this format. It's by Christopher Priest. I like Priest. He's responsible for one of the better of the Black Panther stories as it happened. A lot of people still talk about it. It was used as a big inspiration for the movies. It's one I'm not quite finished reading because it's big, but everything I've read about it I did enjoy, and I would recommend people check it out. I've also really enjoyed his Black Adam recently. He's certainly a writer worth paying attention to, but he's not quite up there on my list of if he's doing something I'm going to buy it. Paying attention to it, absolutely fine. That's why I'm reading this issue. Unfortunately, there's something about it which stopped it being an auto onto my pull list, which we'll get into as we discuss this review. First, we can talk about the artwork, because it is great in its own way, but I feel like sometimes it's not doing what it could be doing. The comic book is split into two sections. First one is set up for the story, which is basically Lois Clark and Bruce Wayne, and the second half is the Justice League going off and doing an adventure. And unfortunately, it's Justice League going off and doing their adventure, which is very Justice Leaguean. It feels exactly in their wheelhouse. It could just be preventing something happening on a global scale, but ends up being an actual thing of like destroying the globe. And they're all working together really effectively, and the set sequences look really cool, but it didn't pull me in the way that some action sequences have done. It feels a little by the numbers, a little bit like this is how the panel layout is exactly what I expect it to do, and everyone is very grim and serious. It's the bit at the beginning where it's mostly just Lois and Clark living together and talking about their jobs, being an excellent married couple, and then Bruce Wayne turning up in his tactical turtleneck, which, by the way, I totally believe Bruce Wayne watches Archer. In my head, that is canon, and I'm sure he loves the TV show. That's why he turns up dressed like that. And it's that first bit which is really fantastic, because it sets up what effectively is the plot for the miniseries, which is Superman disappeared for 20 years, but for everyone else it only was a couple of hours, and he's clearly traumatized by it. There's excellent bits of writing where it goes right down, slows down intently, and it is just Lois trying to figure out what's happened to him when he is unresponsive. He is just standing stock still in the middle of the room, and she's walking around him trying to elicit any response. It is heartfelt and harrowing. It's disturbing. You don't expect Superman to be like that. You don't know what's happened at this point. There's no clue, to Lois at least, what's been going on and why he is doing what he's doing. And it's clearly setting her on edge a little bit, and it drives some of the dialogue later on when she's clearly getting angry and annoyed about what's been going on and why she hasn't been informed of what's happening. There's a bit where she tries to blame Bruce, but Superman being Superman is like, no, blame me, because he's Superman. Of course he's going to take responsibility. He is exactly that kind of guy. He's lovely. I love him for it. The second half, I'd say, it's more the action thing, which sets up the actual explanation of why he disappeared. We still don't know why it's taken him 20 years. That's going to be the next bit of the story. That's going to be the next 9 issues, I hope. But unfortunately, it is this bit which kind of lets me down a little bit. Because, as I say, it feels very Justice Leaguean. There's nothing really that surprised me, other than, I suppose, the alien spaceship turns out to look quite similar to the way, in my head, the craft from Aquaman Andromeda looked, which I really like. I think that's a very nice touch. It's a comic book I love, so I like seeing that kind of crossover reference thing there. But what it actually does is spend a significant portion of it's like, I think, 22 pages of comic book just doing an adventure where the actual adventure itself isn't really that important. It's just a thing. It's a reason with an awful lot of technobabble and science to explain why Superman disappeared. At no point does it explain why he's gone for 20 years or where he's gone or anything like that. It is literally just a thing happens and Superman disappears. And they spend a lot of time doing that, and it's fun to read. Like I say, he writes good dialogue. He does really good interactions with the characters. You get a sense of who these people are based on how they talk to each other. They also give you a sense of the world and the story. The relationship with each other is as important as who they are themselves. It builds up the world and everything. His dialogue is fantastic, but the event itself is just, I hate to say it, not very interesting, not very exciting. It feels like it's the kind of, I mean, this is literally what it is. It is a story about the Justice League, which isn't really important enough to be in a Justice League comic book. It's just a thing that happened on their way to doing something else until Superman disappeared, nobody knows what's happened, but now he's back. That could literally have been the end of any other comic book story. But what this comic book is about is the 20 years he's gone missing. And I feel like spending the entire issue just building up to that when you've only got 9 more issues to go left me feeling a little bit like I hope the second issue really picks up. It's not quite made onto my pull list yet. If second issue lands as effectively as I want it to, as I think Chris Priest can make it do, I think it's going to really, really pop. And the thing that gives me hope for it is the artwork in the first section is my favourite bits of artwork as well. But the last page has the shot of Superman unconscious in space with some clear sci-fi stuff going on around him. That looks fantastic. I want to know what's going on there. That looks interesting and intriguing, and I'm hoping it's going to be as spectacular to read as it to look at, if it's going to look that good. I have high hopes, but this comic book, it's just a good example of why sometimes an issue 1 isn't necessarily a great thing to look at when you're reviewing what an actual series can be. I just hope it lives up to what it can do, and lives up to what Chris Priest is capable of producing. That's it from me, though. There may still be one more review this week. I might squeeze something else out before the end of the week. But if not, thank you for watching. Until I see you all again, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.